I started my career in Salesforce just last week. I have a role as a functional consultant at Nebula Consulting. And so far, it's been a great first week. I'm really enjoying my job. It's been a week of learning, shadowing other people, and getting to know more about the company, the culture, our clients at Nebula. And my journey into Salesforce, it was, I would say, a really interesting one. I initially started out as a solo person trying to learn Salesforce all by myself. In fact, I even got certified by myself, but that's where all my challenges started because I realized I was getting nowhere with just being on my own. I had heard about supermoms and I decided to get in touch with them and see how supermoms could help me. And I had a wonderful conversation with Lind, and she told me something that really had an impact on me. She said that, it's not that we just sit with you and take you through the course. She said, we are there with you throughout. We are like a family and we'll always be there to support you. And I think that's something that I really appreciate about Supermoms. And the minute I joined the course, we had a fantastic trainer. Liam is really very good. And it is one thing to learn Salesforce on your own. It's another thing to have someone who can answer your questions, who can really challenge on things you have learned, read about, and really brainstorm and quiz them on details. And Liam is so good. He would very patiently answer all my questions, and I think that's something that I really enjoyed because now I was doing the course and I was actually learning, not on my own doing trailheads, but I had someone with me who was answering and clarifying all my doubts. And I think the best part about the course, I chose the 6 weeks admin accelerator course. I did that because I was already certified and I was really ready to start working. It's just that I tried so hard on my own and it just wasn't working for me. I did everything that people suggested. I attended networking events, got out of my comfort zone, made the effort to go to London and attend Women in Tech London Admin User Group. And everyone told me, oh, you should do this, you should do that. But somehow things were not falling into place. I really wanted to get hands-on working experience. And a lot of people in all these groups were talking about supermoms. And so everything I could hear, there were Supermoms alumni attending this event. And that got me thinking. And I was thinking that maybe this is the place where I'm going to find my answer and find my tribe, so as to say. And once I joined in, we had a great session with Liam, 3 weeks, and it was another 3 weeks of work experience. And the work experience also was fantastic because I got to see another side of what it means to really be in a work environment. We were given scope of work and we had to try and figure out. During that time, we also, as a cohort, bonded with colleagues and peers. So it was really nice. It was like an actual work environment where we were bouncing off ideas, getting together, setting tasks, and trying to think about how to use work management tools, how we're going to do it. So we're actually thrown into an environment like that. And we came up with ideas. And I think what happened was I was able to give a lot more of myself than I imagined than at the start of the course, because I thought, okay, you get these tasks and you have this checklist and tick, 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 and you're done. But here I was actually thinking because it was a scenario and it was really concrete for me. Uh, on the last session, we had to present back to the company, which was fantastic because I was really nervous. I'll be honest, I was really nervous because I'd not done this in a long time. Um, I actually started work after 11 years. So it was 9 years parental leave, post which I started studying Salesforce. So really, it was after 11 years that I was in front of a high profile person presenting my case. And I was nervous, I was shaking. But the confidence of my peers and, simply what I had put in, I was so excited about the whole thing and it all became so real for me. And this actually helped me talk about at my own interview. And there's another part of the story. So this is just me doing the interview and the work experience with Supermoms. The other fantastic part that I really like about Supermoms is they are a community, a force in itself. So I was part of the Supermoms WhatsApp group where you can ask questions. People are always asking, someone stuck at work with something and they're throwing questions in the group, and others are responding back and supporting. That's something that I really like, because even through those interactions, you're always learning something. So that was something I really enjoyed. And through that group, I got to know about this opening, which I'm 100% sure I never would have heard about it had it been on my own, had I been on my own, because I was actively hunting and looking for work. But I'd never heard about Nebula Consulting having these openings in their office. And when it came through, because there's a lot of sharing of open positions as well within Supermoms, and if there are open positions, there is a recruitment arm, which I did not know, and I got to know only after I started the course. I did not know there was a recruitment arm. So once I learned that, there were also positions being shared in the alumni group, which is also great. And that is how I heard about Nebula Consulting. And once I applied, another thing that I got to know about was Heather hosts the career counseling session. So it's like, it's not just the course, exactly how Lynn told me. It's not that you do the course, you finish, and you're out the door. It's not like that. It's a community. Everyone's helping everyone. If someone hears about a role, they'll put it up in the group and say, oh, look, I've heard of so and so place doing this, or at my work there's this position, or can someone help me out with this? And so I heard about the career counseling session that Heather hosts, and I loved that session. I religiously tried to attend every Tuesday. And that really opened my eyes to a lot of things. It's a close-knit group, and it's a safe space where you can talk about your challenges. And Heather has so much of information and a wealth of information to share. And there's so much that you can learn from her expertise. I learned about the various open roles. I learned how to negotiate. I learned about the salary brackets. It's something that I didn't even know. And of course, a lot of this information is also available on Supermoms on their website. But I never bothered to really look and have a read through. But when you are in this group and you have this safe space and you can talk about it and you can share what you're going through and what your challenges are, and every week you meet up, it's a small group, and I think I really felt so much nicer. It's like a support group where you get expert advice, and I just felt so empowered by this, because now I was better prepared for the interview. So when I went for the interview, I kind of had an idea what salary expectation I should look at. And I also had a better idea about the role, because uh, the job description that was presented to us was not very clear. And I really had no idea what a functional consultant does, or what I should look at, or a consultant's role, because I had till then I was only focused on looking for a Salesforce admin role, and Heather would encourage us and say, you need to look beyond that. There are CRM analyst roles, system analyst role, there are functional consultant role, technical consultant. She walked us through this. So I think there's so much of knowledge sharing in this group, and this is what I really like. So it was not just the course, but once I had an idea of what I was looking for, it was Heather who encouraged us to apply for the consultant role. I would have never even applied for it, because I thought a Salesforce admin cannot be a consultant. Unfortunately, that was my idea, and I was really skeptical, but Heather was so encouraging. And I think her encouragement really gave me the boost that I needed to apply for this role. And I tried my best, applied, everything went, and everything went well. And even during the interviews, it's funnily enough, last week when I had a meeting with one of our senior staff, he actually remembered our interview and my experience that I shared of working in the Supermoms project. And I was impressed that a senior member of staff remembers that I talked about this and how I came up with the scenario and how I came up with a solution to the challenge that the client faced. And I was impressed that he remembered this. So I think the passion that you put into the work experience, it's something, it gives you concrete uh, a scenario that you can really talk to your interviewer at the time of your interview, and that was what I was able to present. And I thought that all of this really helped bring me up at to this interview point. Had I been on my own, I am sure in the first place I would have never heard about Nebula Consulting. Neither would I have had the courage to apply for this role, even if I had to see it on LinkedIn, because prior to this, I had never applied to any consultant roles. I was just looking at Salesforce admin. I thought I didn't have it in me. And so I think that I'm really indebted to Supermoms, because I was a certified admin, but I was struggling on my own. But having joined this course, I had a clearer idea about Salesforce, how Salesforce works. The concepts became more clearer. I was able to clarify, ask questions. And because of that, at the technical level as well, at the technical interview, I was able to answer questions, because the interview, many interviews are also, they also have a technical stage where they will ask you something. Okay, my question was on data management. Give us a scenario and how do you deal with data management? But because I had walked through this with Liam, and I had talked to him about it, he had explained it to us, I was able to talk about it. The other thing is Salesforce Supermoms has such a fantastic alumni community. When it came for the interview stage, I was terrified, because again, it was a consultant role and I'd never gone through a consultant interview, and it was only my second interview in 11 years. So I reached out to the Supermoms team, and they very kindly put me in touch with Supermom mentors who were able to sit with me and prepare me for these interviews. So that's another fantastic support that I got from Supermoms, and it really helps. Um, Knowing someone who is in the same position, who can clarify what a functional consultant role is, who can talk to you about their day, who can maybe do a dry run interview. So I thought that was another great opportunity. Being on my own, it's really hard to know. I did approach people. I did try. I did approach another consultant and ask them to help me and to talk to me about their role, but it got nowhere. But so with Supermoms, I know that, I always have this comfort knowing that I can reach out and someone's always going to get back, because there's such a great community and everyone works so closely, and it's like a family where everyone wants to see you succeed. So that's my bit, and I think I really got so much back and more from Supermoms than I ever expected or imagined it would be like. And Supermoms has really held my hand during this journey, and I am really grateful where I am today. It's in part really to them.
Oh, thank you so much, Andrea. I'm so delighted for you. It's so exciting. And
Yeah,
you have put 110% into what, this career change journey. And I always value, because I don't, if people don't introduce themselves to me, I don't get to know everybody, right? Whereas actually I
yeah,
really appreciate, and I will support 100% people that I meet and I can support. And I love meeting all the people that come on our career advice sessions every week, because that's my touch point to sort of advise. So I've just
yeah,
loved your story and everything that you've done. And
yeah,
so delighted you're working at Nebula, because some of my old colleagues work there as well. And it's a great
yeah.
boutique organisation. It's small enough that you've got
Yes, it
great
is. Yeah, I
progression
love the
to
place.
progress
Yeah.
there.
Yeah, and I also want to say you're more than welcome to connect with me on LinkedIn if anyone has any queries, anyone would want to know more about Supermoms or anything. I'm more than happy to answer any questions, or even right now, if anyone has any questions for me, more than happy to take it.
Yeah, any questions in the chat, let us know. And Andrea, tell us how you when you presented, obviously you felt nervous because it was your second interview in
Yeah.
11 years. But how did you sell your transferable skills, and sort of position yourself for this role given the parental leave? Because I think that's what a lot of people worry about.
Yes. So I had firstly a good read through the job description, and it was a very generic job description. I think a lot of companies put a lot of detail in, but this one was really very generic. I tried to look for words that I was familiar with, like project experience, and I tried to match that to my transferable skills and work experience that I had in my previous two companies. So there was project management. I saw words. I literally highlighted. I took a highlighter and I marked words: training, project management, stakeholder relationship, client management. I marked out these words and I thought of concrete examples where I could actually, where I would be able to speak to the interviewers, because I wanted to ensure that I came across as someone who was not just being honest, but I was also passionate about the work that I did. So that was one thing. And during my 11 years of break, whatever I did, I was involved in other things voluntarily. I sat and I really reflected and thought about everything that I had done in those 11 years, all those milestones. Maybe it could be simple things like, in my case, it was global relocation. Like, I did not have work because I was supporting my husband for his work projects as he relocated across countries. And relocation in itself speaks, you can talk about flexibility, you can talk about adapting to a new environment. You're moving your whole country, your whole family in a short span of times, you're adjusting to a new location. Again, all your logistics of finding housing, schooling, it's a project in itself. It's a huge project. It's not easy to uproot your family from one country, relocate to another country. So I would say everything that you have done in these, in your break that you have in a career break, or pick out those particular moments that stand out to you, that are unique, that you can see and you can talk about as a transferable skills. And here's another trick that I use ChatGPT as well. So I thought about, firstly, I prepared a really clear CV. And even for my career break, I enlisted things that stood out for me. Like, I mentioned 3 global relocations to show that I wasn't just sitting and doing nothing. And I also spoke about supermoms. I talked about learning on my own, learning via Trailhead. So talk about things that you have done. It could be courses that you have done. It could be your interest. And I prepared a blind CV. So I took off all my personal details and I put it into ChatGPT, and I use the job description to match out. So if you're stuck for ideas, use ChatGPT. You have the assistants online. Use AI to just help you brainstorm, because sometimes you will feel stuck. As a parent, initially I thought, oh my gosh, 9 years gone by, what have I done? I just brought up 2 kids and looked after my family. But even as a mother, you were doing so much of project management. Just juggling time shows you're doing flexibility. You're constantly adapting to different scenarios. Maybe something's happened, something's changed. You have to pick up a kid from somewhere. Somebody's not well. I think as women, we underestimate ourselves, really. And all of this in itself, managing your home, you're doing project management work because you're trying to do complete task in a certain period of time. Talk about this. Don't be embarrassed. And this is something that I shared because one of the topics that, one of the questions that came about in my interview was about, how do I manage tasks? If I've been given a lot of tasks, how do I prioritize tasks? I use that. I use the example of my own family as a mother to talk about how I manage tasks. So because I have not worked in the last 9 years, so I could talk about that as a mother. So I told them as a mother how I juggle tasks, how it is essential to decide what is important and urgent, to push those tasks forward. And that's how I could relate that scenario to stakeholders and clients and to business. But I would say, do your homework. Don't underestimate. That's the mistake that I did. I would always think that, I've just been looking after kids. No, you're doing a lot of project management. You're being flexible. You're being adaptable. I mean, how many of us suddenly have, a kid who wakes up in the night crying and you have something urgent to do in the morning? We just adapt. showcase those skills in the interview, and don't be afraid, because use that as your strength. That's not something to let you down. Use it as a strength, and I think employers really value that. So I was able to talk about that. Although it was a long gap, I used all those transferable skills and showed it at the interview. And I think the other thing is, uh, I would say, just be confident in the way you speak, be passionate, and don't be afraid. So, you should be able to say to yourself, I'm proud of what I've done in the last couple of years. Maybe I've had a career break, but everything that I've done is not something that someone else would have been able to do in my shoes, perhaps. So, give credit to yourself for that. And don't be afraid to talk about it in an interview. So I did talk in my interview about motherhood. I did talk about the Supermoms course. I did talk about voluntary work that I did. So I did do voluntary opportunities about in before joining my workplace. I did talk about all of that. So don't be afraid. Use it as an opportunity. It is your strength, and just showcase it. And a true employer will really value that.
Thank you, Andrea. That's so lovely, and you talk so passionately about it as well. So
Yeah.
you say everything right. I'll bring you out next time. It's great. I mean, it's everything that we want Supermums and what we reflect as a brand. That everything. The world is our oyster is our tagline,
Yes.
right? The world
Yeah.
is about oyster, but it's about having the right support, the right mindset, the right ambition, and believing that you can do it is so
Yes.
important.
Absolutely. Yeah.
I've really enjoyed supporting you, and very excited about seeing your progress and your career and your next steps. So
Yeah.
thank
Thank you
you.
so much, Heather. I really appreciate your support throughout. And like I said, I don't think I would have got here without Supermoms.
Oh, thank you. Well, that's what drives us every day, right? We hear lovely
Yeah.
stories, and we saw a lovely
Absolutely.
LinkedIn post earlier about somebody and their work experience and how much they've loved it. So it really means a lot to us, hearing all the value, and all my team are amazing. So I'm so glad that they've all supported you in different ways. So thank you for joining us. I will let you have some rest time now because your brain is probably buzzing after 1 week in.
Yeah. Well, thank you, everyone. It was a pleasure being here, and feel free to, ask me any questions. I'm available on LinkedIn, and